Hey you guys, welcome back to Michael Clarida Arts. Greetings, man. It's exciting today. I love it whenever I go to the mail and I receive stuff in the mail so I can share with you the accolades of having this channel. One of those accolades, of course, is reviewing products. I've reviewed tons of stuff on this channel as it applies to art in the studio environment. And today is going to be kind of a mashup, right? You know, you don't visit this channel primarily for reviews, although I've done quite a few reviews in the past. You come to this channel for drawing, and that's exactly what we're going to do today. The wonderful peeps over at a company by the name of Ohuhu have reached out to me. And since I love markers, and I have a huge collection of markers, and I've done a lot of marker work, you can even see, yeah. Like some of this stuff over here has really been part of my day-to-day journey of polishing and exploring and drawing and testing out new types of media, whether it be acrylics, whether it be ink, whether it be pencil. Markers I kind of fell into markers whenever I first started this channel, and I just love working. I just love working in markers. So they reached out to me and they said, hey, we would love for you to review our marker set and do a video, video drawing showing, showing how they perform in comparison to other markers that you've used. So just to give you a little moment and background, I am a professional illustrator, character designer, product designer, graphic artist, 3D sculptor. And I've been working in the professional capacity for about 23, 24 years. And, through that duration, my style of drawing has evolved as I'm hoping it would. And as I, edit, things to my professional tool belt, markers has always been really a staple, and traditional art in particular. I love drawing using good old pencil and paper. And as you can see, if I can pull up, if you can see just some of the character stuff that I do. And I posted quite a few pieces on my channel, right? You name it. I do animal studies, character studies, and I just love working in markers. So what we're going to do today is first we're going to unbox the marker set that Ohuhu sent me. And just to kind of give you an overview, Ohuhu sent me this set for free so they could get my opinion on their product. They're not reimbursing me for any of the time spent in the video. The only thing that they want me to do is to, first of all, create a video. Second of all, be honest about their product. And third of all, enjoy their product. They're very vehement about doing that. I've had other markers that haven't been so great, right? Some markers that are expensive, some markers that kind of dry out quickly, some markers that, burst. The fit and finish isn't great. I've got quite a few Ohuhu markers already in my collection. So again, we're going to draw something today. We're going to review their product, and just want to give a big shout out to Ohuhu for providing this set for me. And let's go ahead and get started in unboxing. And we'll do a sketch, and we'll wrap up with possibly some time lapse because illustrations take a while. And hopefully you guys will learn something today, and hopefully that Ohuhu will be a great price-conscious alternative, because believe it or not, they're not expensive in comparison to some of the really high-end markers. And I would consider Ohuhu right up there with Copic. So let's go ahead and get started. And here is the packaging. So they wrap it in a very nice plastic sleeve. Take it out of there. Ohuhu's always really good about providing you with a carrying case, right? This is the Ohuhu Honolulu series 72 count color markers, alcohol markers. So we're gonna go ahead and open these up. Oh, look at how good. Look at that, all separated nicely. Okay, so I believe, yes. What makes Ohuhu nice too is the fact that on one side you have the broad tip, and on the other side you have the all-important brush tip. It's very important for me to have this particular facet of the marker because whenever I'm drawing, I use it as a paintbrush, very similar to watercolor. And just overall construction of the Ohuhu marker is very well done. I love the tampo printing. It's always very clear. Colors, we're gonna do a couple tests showing the comparison of the cap with the actual color on the paper. Now there's always gonna be a variable just because whenever you put it on paper or colored paper, there's gonna be saturation of the paper and maybe a little, you might have to hit it once or twice depending on how much ink these guys put out. And I like the tampo printing on the side, and I haven't had any issues with any of the other Ohuhu markers. So here's one that I already owned, and you can see this one's probably about 1.5 to 2 years old, and just the fit and finish and the quality is the same. And what's nice is if you look, so the broad side doesn't have a gray strip, but the brush side does. So whenever at a glance, let's say I'm working, I grab my marker and I can determine, instead of having to pull one side and then flip it over and pull the other because I don't know which side it is, I can always look at the gray side and say, hey, there's the gray strip. That's the brush side in case I can't see the tampo printing. What's also nice about Ohuhu is they include color swatches. So if you want to take the time out to go ahead and mark each particular color on the white paper to kind of compare and contrast, you know, the cap with the saturation on the paper, they do provide both of those swatch sets for you. And you can look at the number and correspond with the number on top of the cap right there and the other side, which is also very nice. And they also have their cool catalog that you can go through, and it kind of gives a history of who they are, gives you a color wheel, right? It kind of shows you blending methodologies, you know, a little blending tutorial if you want to use 3 different colors, 2 different colors, complementary colors, tertiary, so on and so forth. And it's got a reversible brush tip. So let's say you want to, you know, you've used one side a lot and it's just getting to the point where it's getting kind of out of hand and kind of frilled up. You can just take that out and flip it around and, you know, have a fresh marking tip, which is really nice. So we're going to review that in a moment. And of course, the all-important plastic thin paper protector. So you put your coloring sheets and you can have your hand on there so you're not saturating and getting markers on your hands or having any bleed through, not only for this on top, but if you have thin paper, you place it on the bottom, right? On the bottom, let's say this is, instead of having maybe a sketchbook or something, you place that sleeve on the bottom and then you won't get any bleed through to the underlying paper. That's, again, having forethought to look at the consumer and realizing that maybe these little items, these little periphery items add to the creative process, because they know working with markers can be messy. It can be messy, it can be irritating, and they've tried to alleviate some of that. So let's go ahead and break out my paper and do some sketching and do some color saturation tests and see where Ohuhu lands with respect to other markers in the marketplace. And I do have a myriad of markers, so we're gonna see exactly how they lie. Okay, and here we are at my drawing board. I've got my Bristol paper pad set up on my stand. Typically what I'll do whenever it comes to marker work, what I'll do, I'll work on toned paper. So this is typically what I'll work on, and today's demo will be on toned paper. As you see, I've got a myriad of different illustration projects, you know, sketchbook, and just having fun. Here's some of my cryptids that I've done. Here's my character beans that I've worked on for years and years. And, you know, I just like sketching stuff out. And that's what I use. I use Tone Tan made by Strathmore. So today, to begin with, for the Ohuhu test, we're going to show some colors on white paper and compare them to the cap. I think it's important because, you know, whenever you look at the cap, you want that color. And I don't want to have to sit there and look around in this huge, you can see there's a lot of markers in this pack, right?
You can see that. So what I'm going to do is I'm basically going to choose probably 5 colors. That color, 1, 2, 3, 4. And what's the last one? We'll do purple. So here we go. We've got a purple, saturated purple, sort of a, it's called marigold, but this is maybe a less saturated yellow. Then we're going to move on to red, of course, because red is one of those colors that we always want to get right the first time. And then we move on to green. This is, let me see here. This is emerald green. It's got a little bit of blue in it, so we might change that. No. Greens are hard and reds are hard sometimes, and of course blue. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, on this side, we're going to have, let's say, Ohuhu. And then over here, on the right-hand side, we're going to have brand X. So we'll choose 5 from brand X in just a moment. So first, we're going to start out with Ohuhu. Like I said before, I love Ohuhu markers. I've got a plethora of Ohuhu markers in my collection, and they're really reliable in comparison to some of the other markers in the marketplace. Typically, I don't have any issues whenever it comes to color saturation, longevity, feel, and build quality. They're really decent. So first, we're going to do red. Okay, that's first pass. So my first inclination is here's what we're going to do. We're going to do all the colors first. So red, then we're going to do purple, then we're going to do green, then we're going to do blue, and then we're going to do marigold / I think this is like a yellow ochre. Okay, so you guys notice I used the brush end because I don't typically use the chisel end, but just for posterity, we're going to go ahead and do a thicker chisel on there. Thicker chisel. Okay. Here we go, chiseling away. Okay. And purple. And of course, red. Now, I used Bristol board, case in point, I used Bristol board on purpose because Bristol board is a paper that is suitable for a myriad of different mediums, from pencil to marker to possibly maybe some gouache occasionally. And I wouldn't probably do watercolor on this just because it'd probably separate, but it is thicker. I don't know how many pound this is. This is 100 pound. 100 pound stock. So this would probably be considered similar to cardstock. So initial swing, I would say the red is pretty saturated and darker. I wouldn't consider this maybe a blood red. I would consider this maybe a darker burgundy because it's got some purple in there. So we're going to switch to maybe one of their other reds. Okay, so this one right here probably would be considered deep red. This is geranium. And I looked at this and I thought true red. But we're going to look at geranium. Geranium has some purple or pink into it. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so now we're getting, that matches really well. Okay, this does not match that red. So I would say no bueno on geranium. I do not see that color in that cap. However, whenever we come over here to deep red, I'm saying probably within 25%, 15% of the cap color. So winner on that one. So let's go over to the purple. So this has a purple quality to it. And I'm going to go, see the problem is whenever you go over something twice, it really doesn't look like the color. So let's do this. So that to me does not read like that color. I mean, that is more or less a, maybe like a dark blue, possibly. So we're looking at this. It is similar, but here we are. We're going to change to a different purple. So this is light violet. Okay, so if you look at that, that to me reads pink. That. Now the light that I'm using, now the light makes a big difference. This is a color corrected light. It's got both LED, fluorescent, cool and warm, and I've got it right in the center. So this is the natural light, as natural as you're going to get. So these two, this is more of a purple. This is a pink. So let's go over here. We're going to try another color. So we're trying to get a purple here. So here's vivid purple. Okay. So this reads close to this, but this again, this is in the red hue. I'm a little confused here. So we're going to keep moving on. This is always fun to do, right? So here's green. So I can tell you right now it matches, right? That is a good match. So we're going to hit it again just to see, okay, if we can get a nice saturation of green. And I would say probably within 10%. So we're going to try another green, because greens are funny, right? Especially as it pertains to liquid, because it'll dry lighter, right? So here we go, our green. Yeah, that's nice. Okay, so far so good. 100% on the greens. We're going to try one more green. Here we go. This is bud green. Okay, we're trying, okay, that's good. I would say probably, it's dry, it's darker. So maybe within 35%, a little bit darker. So then we're going to try the hard one. And believe it or not, we're really close. That yellow is really close. So let's go ahead and do it again. Very nice. Okay, that yellow is a match. So then we're going to try a different yellow. Okay, so this one is dark yellow. Okay, we're going to try again the chisel. Okay. Nice. Perfect match. So, I don't know. Here's another yellow. This is melon. Okay, melon. Melon's very similar to that other color that I put down. So this one is different than this one. This one is the same as this one, and this one is melon. I would say we're a match for melon. So the yellows are really good. I think where Ohuhu looks to be having a little bit of the challenge has to do with their reds. So like after we've completely dried, so let's go back, because I'm one for posterity and keeping things clean. Okay, violet purple. So now that it's had a chance to dry, so we're almost right on, which is good. So let's go to light violet. I'm not feeling that one. That one's not doing well. Okay, so again, you see how it went darker? And as that alcohol evaporates, you can actually see it lightening up now. Okay, so I'm not, yeah, that one's pink. So that one needs to be worked on. This is light violet. So finally, okay, so these are hard, right? The pinks, the reds, those are some of the harder colors to match. And we're going to go all the way back. Okay, here we go. So that's good. Deep red's matching. That's good. And then we're going to go to geranium. Yeah, geranium is, that cap is red. That is, whew, that is dark. Okay, so let's go here, which is pink. Oh, wow. That is nice. So it's probably going to take a second. The alcohol is evaporating. It's saturating into the paper. That is very vivid. This is a little desaturated, a little dull, and this is pastel pink. I would not consider that to be a real pastel color. That is that's a vivid pink, but it does match in terms of hue, saturation, And I'm just randomly grabbing colors, you guys, just because I mean, you would probably do the same thing just to get, you know, a test-wise. Okay, and that's just a first pass, right? That's nice. That's a perfect match right there, and that is pastel rose. So I think overall, I think that Ohuhu is probably within the 15, 20 to 25% range of accuracy as it pertains to the cap. So let me go ahead and grab an alternate marker set with similar colors, and we're going to do a comparison on the same sheet of paper. So let's go ahead and get those out. Okay, so what I've done is I've pulled 5 colors from my collection, 5 Copics. I've pulled 5 Prismacolors. And I think that's where we're going to lie, because I've got other markers in here from Winsor & Newton. I've got some from XP Pen, but we're not going to delve into those because at the end of the day, we want to get on to drawing. So we're going to go ahead and compare. So here is the industry standard, which is Copic. Right? The issue that I have with Copic is not so much the overall application of the ink, is the fact that they're $10 a piece, and whenever you compare in terms of size-wise, you know, this one has a little bit more girth, the Ohuhu marker, and Copic is even though they're quote-unquote the industry standard, they you know, they don't last as long as I would have liked. Now, you can refill both of these markers, and I think that that is a bonus. But, man, whenever you start price comparing the two, at $10 a piece, you know, you start really, 10 colors, that's $100. So you can get 72 colors of the Ohuhu priced very, very competitively in the marketplace. So let's go ahead and put the Ohuhu back. Let's do the Copic. Okay, so we get good saturation, nice across the board. We don't get any spots where it's bleeding out. However, for me to actually get the color that's on the cap, I probably have to hit it twice. So we're within 15, 25% on the Copic. Let's move on to the purple. Okay, that's spot on. Right? This does have a little bit more blue in it than I would have liked. This is marked as blue violet. Well, there you go. So it's exactly what it says it is. So we get on to the green. So we might have to hit, okay, that's a 1 pass. See, what I'm noticing is the hue is there, but I have to hit the Copic possibly twice. Whereas on the Ohuhu marker, I'm getting a 1 pass, and I'm getting good saturation, good ink distribution. I'm not getting any bleed outs. I'm not getting any skips. And so to get that color with the Copic, I've had to hit it 2 times. So there it is. Here we are with the blue. Actually, that's not a good representation, so let's grab another one. Okay. Okay, again. See, the case in point, I don't use that blue a lot, and it's already running out. So some of these Copic markers are years old, and I can't really knock it for that. I mean, they're not brand new. So case in point, keep that in your brain. So this one is mint green. So again, I'm going to have to hit it twice to get good saturation. I mean, the colors are spot on as it pertains, you know, to hue. But I'm having to hit it twice on pretty much all of these. That's good. So again, we're going to hit it again. So we're close, within 5% of that. So then we're going to move on to Prismacolor. Prismacolor offers markers, if some of you guys don't know. Okay. So I think I'm going to use the wedge for most of these. However, this first marker, I picked up a brush marker. So let's go ahead and try that one. Okay, first pass, good ink distribution, no bleed outs, nice even stroke. See, what I don't like about Prismacolor is they print all their ink colors, and the cap is not the color. See, I'd like to have the whole cap the color. So if you can see, it's pretty spot on. Move on to the green. First pass. Perfect. Wow, that red is very brilliant and vibrant. Yep. Now it is a little bit darker. Okay. What is this? It says PM4. Doesn't give, what is this? Crimson red. So yeah, I would designate that as crimson red. And then here we are with rhodamine. I mean, that's exact. Look at that. This is a little bit lighter, and of course, as we know, it goes on dark because it's got the alcohol, and as it evaporates, it will get a shade lighter. So let's do that, and then finally the blue. I'd say within 20, and as it lightens up because it is drying, pretty good. Okay, so you're like, well, Mike, those Ohuhu markers, they're brand new. Okay, so you say that. So now what we do is I have Ohuhu markers from a year and a half ago. These are Ohuhu markers that have been sitting on my desk for a year and a half. So now we're going to go and we're going to test these out. These have been sitting here. I haven't really used them because I haven't done a ton of drawing. I do a lot of digital work. So let's go ahead and grab 5 Ohuhu year-old markers, okay? So let's go ahead and put these to the left. Ohuhu 1.5 years. Okay, so let's go ahead. We're going to shift this over a little bit. So now, wow, that is perfection. That is absolute. See, that's geranium. Isn't that interesting? So let's go back. Okay, this is a year old, 1.5 years, and this is brand new. Okay, we're going to go brand new. You can see the brand new marker is a little bit darker than the 1.5-year-old marker. See the two? Two different ink runs. However, marked as geranium. So let's go ahead. We'll pull orange of the 1.5-year-old. Beautiful. Perfect. Here we are with, what color is this? Turquoise green. I would say, now that's going to dry, so we're going to give it a moment. We're within, yeah, I'd say within 25, 15, 20%. And as it dries, of course, it's going to dry a little bit lighter. Here we are with royal blue. Now, typically royal blue is darker. Yeah, we're right spot on. That looks really good. And we're not going to do another green. Let's put that back in there. And the greens, like I said, are hard to match. Okay. Wow, that's beautiful. Perfect. So far, we're like batting 90% here with the Ohuhu 1.5-year-old markers. And you have to remember, this is alcohol. Alcohol markers dry out eventually. So here's violet purple, which was up here. Okay, so let's go ahead and do this. Yeah, see, this has a lot of red in it, and I would say, they still don't have those purples dialed in, or they didn't back 1.5 years ago. So let's go ahead and, okay, here's one of the colors that I always think is interesting, and I use this a lot because I draw a lot of creatures. This is hazelnuts, okay? This is a brown hue with a little bit of warmth in it. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to go across. Hands are notoriously hard. So again, this is 1.5-year-old. I would say this has a lot more yellow and warmth in it than the cap designates. So let's go ahead and see if we can't find something similar. Okay. I don't see a hazelnut in the new set that I received to review. So that's a bummer. potato brown. Potato brown. Potato brown. Yeah, see, that's more similar to potato brown than I would think the other one I did. So let's go ahead and see what potato brown is. Yeah, see, that's dark. Yeah. Okay, so you can see that in comparison, so we've shown brand new Ohuhu markers. We've shown Copic markers, which I got to be honest with you, some of my Copic markers are a little bit older, and if I had brand new Copic markers, they probably would have fared a little bit better. Prisma markers, which were fantastic, good color match overall, but again, what I didn't like about the Prismas had to do with the fact that I need to color the cap. I mean, stickers are fine, but you know, whenever I'm drawing in the midst of, a lot of times I have my little cheat sheet. You'll see over on the right hand side, I'll do something like this just to see how the color saturates into the paper first. And a lot of times I have to go back and I have to do things again and again with Prisma markers. And these retail for about $6 or $7, which is not bad. But whenever we get over to the Ohuhu markers, 1.5 years old, you can see there is no difference. And actually, the 1.5-year-old ones fared a little bit better, I think, than the brand new ones. And that just might be because the ink has had more time to saturate into the felt on the inside of the marker. I don't know. Either way, the 1.5-year-old Ohuhu markers are fantastic. And I've got an entire... I went ahead and I got some of the flesh tones, and these worked out really well. So, like here, these are Ohuhu, 1.5-year-old. So you can see good saturation and overall great presentation of the color. Fantastic. So let's go ahead and get started drawing. Okay, and here we are. This is the actual drawing segment of this video. Sorry it's taking me so long. So this is what I typically will do. I draw on this toned Strathmore paper, and this is just one of the doodles that I had from one of my last reviews. So we're going to go vertical format tonight. Let's go ahead and adjust the stand a little bit. I like using these because there's not a lot of give. So today, utilizing the Ohuhu Honolulu series art markers, I believe this is the 72 count. We're going to start out with the wedge. Now typically whenever I do drawings like this, I will sketch out in blue Prismacolor pencil, something like this, do the rough sketch, then I'll ink it, and then I'll come back with the drawing with the marker. But I'm not going to do that tonight. I'm going to actually try utilizing the wedge. So let's go ahead and see how the gray looks. That's a little dark. So let's go ahead a little bit lighter. Get a little test page in the back here. Okay. Okay, so for those of you who have frequented my channel before, you know that I love birds. I am a birdie. I'm a birder. I guess that's the proper terminology, right? A birder? I love looking at birds. I love drawing birds. I love flight. I just love how beautiful and graceful they are. I love just the construction and the, oh gosh, I just love everything about birds. So what I'm doing today is I'm going to do a parrot, because that will really show the wonderful qualities of the Ohuhu markers, and it'll also bring out some of the issues, if there's any issues with the markers because of the colors. But I don't think we're going to have any problems, because like I've said before, I've had Ohuhu markers for quite a while, and they make a wonderful product. I mean, compared to some of the other markers in the marketplace, I've tried them all, guys. I mean, from your Copics to your Winsor & Newton to your Prismacolors, Ohuhu really knows what they're doing. It's just a fun name to say too, Ohuhu. I just love saying it. Okay. So why do I use gray? So first of all, I'm on toned paper. And whenever you work on toned paper, that gives you a mid value. A mid value, so you're not fighting against those lights and darks, right? You start out with kind of a mid-tone, a mid value, and you move from there, right? You can start putting in your lights and your darks, right? So what I'm doing now is I'm just working out some of the sketch. Like I said, typically I'll start out with a Prismacolor, but I wanted to go ahead and do this because some of you guys don't have access to all the expensive and wonderful things that is in the art world, such as the Prismacolor, Col Erase pencils. And frankly, that's okay. You don't need to have high-end art supply. You really don't. I mean, you don't need to have a $10 pencil. You don't need to have a $20 marker. You can create artwork, decent artwork, with budget-minded art supplies. And I think that's, you know, even though this particular set, I believe, chimes in at around 80 bucks, you know, you get a lot for your value. You get a lot of value, You get a lot of value for your dollar spent, right? So, and plus what's going to happen is whenever I start putting in the reds and the blues, the greens and the yellows, this paper, I don't want to say it doesn't dull things down, but you have to remember that you are working on toned surfaces. So the colors might have to go over once or twice. Just remember that. I like working on toned paper. It's my jam. It's kind of what I did in college. Back in the day, back when I was in college, back in 2025, 33, whatever. No, I've been out of college for quite a long time. I've been doing this for a while. My professional career, I'm actually a product designer, illustrator. You know, I do a myriad of different products. I 3D sculpt. You know, I do illustration work, I do package design, I do toy design, mock-up, toy illustration, package illustration. I mean, golly, just so many different disciplines and hats that I've had the opportunity to put my hat, you know, put on through the years, that getting back to basics, which is what this is, I really love doing it. Okay, so what I'm doing now is I'm getting a roadmap. I talk about roadmaps and stuff in my professional career and how having a solid roadmap and a good sketch will definitely aid you and be a good firm foundation as you progress through your illustration. Nothing is worse than having to fix something after the fact that, you know, you've already rendered part of it. So having, like I said, a strong sketch and something that's correct, you know, no matter how long it takes, right? Now, we're obviously not doing this for money, but we want to make sure that it does have a certain quality to it that shows the quality of the markers. Okay. So now, let's go ahead and get a few lathes here and there. Okay, so a few lathes out here. It comes down, a few lathes, right? And we're coming here, leg separation. He's got this tuft that comes out. This tuft that comes around. You can hear my device in the background just spoke up for no reason. That's always fun, isn't it? I have many devices in my studio that aid my day-to-day illustration work. And sometimes, I mean, they're always listening, right? Devices are always listening. They're always listening. So overall, right now, just the realistic viewpoint is I've done this before. I know that Ohuhu is a good brand, and this particular set, the Honolulu set, has, I mean, it's got grays in it, it's got flesh tone, it's got, I mean, you can look, it's got just a whole bunch of colors. I mean, you can't go wrong with that set. It really lends itself to what I'm doing, especially with this particular bird. So now what I'm going to do, since I've kind of got my roadmap sketched, now I'm going to go to my black. Actually, no, I'm not. What do I want to do? I want a dark, like a really dark red. I don't see a dark red or a dark blue. No. Okay, so I need to use the black sparingly because although the parrot does have black in it, I need to be very careful on how I use the black. I mean, it's in his eye, right? And typically I would do this with a brush marker, but again, I don't want to use something that's not in the set. And it's important that I don't do that, especially whenever I'm reviewing a product for a company. So they're going to be like, you didn't, I mean, you used something that's not in the set, Mike. Okay, I'm sorry. So what I'm doing now is I'm just putting some little things here and there. A lot of people get in there really heavy with the black, and I'm not going to do that. Now, this obviously isn't ideal, and if I switch over to the brush, which actually might be a better option. Yeah, it's a much better option. So we're going to come here, and I'm not going to line everything and define it as much as you think I would, just because I want it to have a nice sketch quality to it. Right? How many times have we done drawings, right? And we get to the point and we go and the drawing's beautiful, right? Whether it's in pencil, whether it's in pen, whatever, whether it's in marker, and then we come back and it's like a mindset change. And then suddenly we're in outline mode. And what you do is you destroy your sketch and then it deadens everything. That's always just a terrible thing to happen. You don't want that to happen. You want that lively sketch to come through. And instead of just tracing, which is what a lot of people will do, you want to come back and accentuate. And you're just accentuating things. And that's basically what I'm doing here. Just coming back, just giving little things here and there. Right? Like some people will go in and do the lines really hard. We're not doing that. Because the light's up here, we're not going to, you know, little feathers come here. Yeah, get some lights here. See, unfortunately, drawing takes a long time. And for me to sit here and do a review, a real proper review of this product, it would take me at least an hour to 2 hours to draw this, right? And paint it with the markers, because I treat markers very similar to watercolor. And to actually get it to look the way I want it to, I mean, you're talking 2 hours, 2.5 hours, and it takes a long time. And frankly, you guys, I don't think you want to watch a 2-hour video, YouTube video. So what I'm going to end up doing here is we're going to speed things up just a little bit so you can see the process in a way that is a little more friendly in terms of production value. So what we're going to do is I'm going to put you guys on time lapse while I ink this out, and you can kind of see the process. Now, we'll be doing some talking. So for those of you who hate me for talking, then go ahead and silence me. It's fine. Not hurt my feelings any. Because I do have some people that actually enjoy the narration and the stories and stuff like that. But tonight, we're just literally talking about the markers and, you know, the drawing process. So let's go ahead and put you on time lapse. so I blocked in my color, and there's a myriad of things that I can do now. So typically what I'll do in this situation is I'll utilize maybe a purple or a lavender. Let's see how this lavender is right here. And I go in, and it's not going to be dark enough. And I go in and I start putting in some shadows. Now, a lot of people use gray, and I found out because I used to do that as well, and it's something that you can do. You can use gray, and you can, depending on what your light source is and where your subject is, maybe it's in the forest, maybe it's in the morning, you can use a cool gray. But what I noticed is a lot of times the grays will deaden the color, and that's one thing I don't want to do. I don't want to deaden the color. So that's why I'll use a purple or a green or a blue or some other hue that maybe, it's if I'm going on red, maybe I'll use a cooler green as, an opposite. And then maybe, if I'm going over an orange, maybe I'll use a blue, a cooler blue-gray or something like that. What I want to always avoid in this situation is utilizing black. Some people put black in there and that deadens the color. Also, if you use white, right, to lighten something, I don't like using white. White is kind of my last resort. So like here on the yellow, I want to go towards the blue. So here's a nice blue. Whoops. See, yellow and blue. Yellow and blue make green. The opposite of yellow. Purple. So, yeah, you want the complement. So basically, you can see what I'm doing. Now, since I don't want to utilize any other products, right, I would typically use maybe a color pencil to do highlights. Maybe I would go in and use a dry marker that would basically put in some of those values that I think should be in there. But right now, we're just going to stick with what came with the Honolulu series, because I don't want it to be said that I didn't use the product in its entirety, right? So like down here, like some of these blues that need a shadow on them, instead of going back in with black or gray, I'm just using a darker hue to kind of shade these in, especially on the reds. Yeah, the blue, the purple on the reds, it really makes it look really nice. Yeah, see, like right here is a little shadow, and like underneath here, yeah, some shadow. And it preserves the vibrancy of the color underneath. The second I stick gray or something on there, it's going to make it look not great. Oh, here we go. I was looking for a darker green. Because it's closer to me, it's darker. Okay. And here we go. And so in the background, I really want him to pop. So I really want a shadow. I'm going to really just go crazy over here because there's a shadow. I want this all to be in shadow right here to form his little face. His little cute face. Markers are wonderful, guys. If you have never delved into markers. Okay, so the reason why I got into markers, first of all, is I saw somebody do some incredible artwork, and I was like, I can do that, right? Isn't that how we typically do things as artists? We're like, oh, I can do that. And then I got some markers, and I started doing it, and I failed. It was terrible. It was a train wreck. And I was like, why am I... It's because I was trying to do things in a way that it was working against my workflow, right? My workflow is very chaotic. And to me, markers presented a conundrum because once you put the line down, that's it, right? And I was like, how am I going to do this? I don't quite understand how I'm going to do this. And it didn't matter if it was Ohuhu markers, if it was some of the other brands out there. You know, I kept failing, and it was just very frustrating. And then I watched a tutorial. I don't quite remember who, because it's been so long. And they were using them as like watercolor and paint. And I'm like, well, that's simple. So I went back, I changed my mindset, and I went back to the way I do things, which is, again, a little chaotic. And lo and behold, it started working for me. That's a little bit too dark. It started working for me. And that's something that you're going to have to try out for yourself as you discover these markers and this whole marker thing. Because alcohol markers blend, right? The alcohol goes in and it reactivates the ink and it blends the markers. And that's what's really cool about alcohol markers. And you can go back in and just blend. And they actually have blenders. Did they include a blender in here? I think they did. And here is the blender. It even says colorless blender, and it's just alcohol, right? And you can go in and put all kinds of detail in and just have tons of fun. And that's, you know, I say this a lot on my channel, and I say, if you're not having fun, you're doing it wrong. Right? If you're stressed out and you're like, son of a biscuit, why can't I get this done? And you're doing it wrong. I remember a teacher once. He was a big proponent of, and that's funny how I reference teachers a lot. I am, of course, a teacher myself. And I make sure and let you guys know that teaching is a calling. Not everybody should teach. Let's be honest. I've had some doozies. But this teacher definitely was his calling. And he basically said, if you're not having fun, you're doing it wrong. I mean, that's probably true in life and everything else. If you're not having fun, then you're doing it wrong. And I'm like, well, I'm not having fun. You're stressing me out, man, with all your projects that you're putting on me and all your unrealistic deadlines. No, what he was trying to basically educate me in is you need to look at it from a different perspective, right? Markers and using markers were a challenge to me, and I basically had to change my mindset, you know? And I think that if you do that, then markers can be just a wonderful thing because you layer them. They're painterly. I mean, they've got such a beautiful quality to them. And Ohuhu makes just a comparison to some of the other stuff I have. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I've got markers from Master's Touch. I've got markers from, I don't know who this is. Joe's Markers from the market. I jest. Copic markers. You know, I've got Copic wide markers. I've got Prisma markers. The thing with Ohuhu is the price, and you can experiment without having to break the bank. So, man, what a good time this illustration is. I'm trying to find the right color for my background. What is it? Is it that one? No. I want it to be real light. It's so funny. I do this all the time. No, I don't want to do that one. I don't like that one. And literally, as I progress through... Oh, here we go. What is this? I remember markers... they dry lighter. So even though this is going to be dark as I put it on, you'll see. It'll dry just a little bit lighter. It'll be just the perfect amount of value in the background to make him jump out a little bit. And it's going to be so, so good. Yeah. I'm having fun, and that's really, at the end of the day, what's important about this whole process. And again, I would probably come back and I would, you know, invest a little bit more time in the value structure, because I've got some nice oranges in here. I'd like to beef those up. I'd like to beat these up like a big strong arm. You know, put a little bit of beefiness in here. And beefiness means saturation, right? We want to saturate these areas, make it a little bit darker. And again, I'm not using black, I'm not using gray. I'm using, you know, either complementary or value, darkened value. And with the alcohol markers, it's like the more I put on, the better it gets. Here, we're going to try this red. This is nice dark red. Oh yeah, here we go. This is the good stuff right here. And sometimes that randomness, right? That randomness just really does exactly what I want it to do. It just makes me feel so good, right? Whenever I get a piece done. Oh, and it like bleeds in. I love it. Yeah, guys, you can really have fun. I highly recommend the Ohuhu brand. The people over there are very nice. They're very considerate. I mean, gosh, when in the heck do you find a brand that doesn't shut its doors in your face? Like if you have any issues, they've got customer service. Yeah, of course I typically don't need customer service most of the time. Unless, of course, it's with a computer product, and I'm all about that. But this is not computers. This is traditional. And with the Ohuhu brand, you can be rest assured you're going to get your money's worth, right? Just read some of the reviews on Amazon. Go visit their website. It's a great alternative to Copic. If you're a Copic, if you're a Copic guy or gal, that's completely fine. You can keep your Copic markers, okay? The thing is, you can supplement, right? If you need to replace a few colors and you don't want to spend $10 a marker, you can buy you some Ohuhu, baby. I love Ohuhu markers. Love them. All right. So then, I didn't use any graphite. So we put a little bit of blue in his eyeball. Let's try this colorless blender. Let's see what that does. Oh, that blended nicely. You get some really cool nuances. And since I didn't go heavy with the black, you can see, like right here, yeah. So, what do I think about the Ohuhu markers? So overall, the Ohuhu Honolulu 72 count marker set at $69.99 is a steal. Oh my gosh. I can't even, there are very few products that I've reviewed that I'm like, yes! Most of them are like, yeah, it does what it says it does. Yeah, I recommend it. It's all right, But man, whenever you look at this, it says 72 colors, but you get 72 colors and one colorless blender. So you actually get 73 items for $70, and they are refillable. And man, whenever you can sit down and you create a fun piece of artwork, like that, you really can't go wrong, right? Yeah, I mean, it's got 3,441 ratings at 5 stars. So that really tells you a lot about the brand overall. You look at some of the other sets they have. I mean, I'm looking at okay, so we've got 48 colors. We've got 200 colors for $99.99. They come in different, Honolulu. What's some of that? It says double tipped. Okay, so I'm actually on Amazon right now. I'm shopping for you. So, Oahu. So the Oahu set, it looks like it includes oh my gosh. Look at that. That is an incredible set of markers for $100. And that looks like it's the double tipped chisel and fine. So even though I use chisel occasionally, you saw me use it for sketching, I would probably go with the brush tip and the chisel, just because that's going to give you a better drawing feel. So here we go. Here's the 168 set with chisel and brush for $125. So hopefully you guys understand that this is a really good deal. In comparison to some of the other marker sets, you guys know that I've had Ohuhu for a while. I showed in my test that I had a set that had been around for a year and a half, and it was exactly like the set that I had brand new right out of the box. So you don't have to worry about quality. In terms of any guarantees, obviously you're going to have to read the, let me see, seamless blending, vibrant colors. I'm sure you'll have to read the warranty information about that. But just go on Amazon, buy the Ohuhu markers, and have a ball. So that's all I had for you guys today. Hopefully you enjoyed the drawing. I had a blast drawing it. I'm a bird guy, and I love drawing markers. I love drawing. I do it all day, every day, pretty much as I can. And markers to me are my medium of choice whenever it comes to color. I do painting, I do some watercolor, I do acrylics, I do oil, I do gouache, all those traditional mediums. I actually, whenever I was in college, I did oil and pastel. So I'm a really big pastel guy. But markers are a great travel companion, and especially if you don't want to deal with all the water and stuff. Blech. Water with watercolor. And what's great about these, you can use them on watercolor paper. So I actually have many greeting cards I've done in the past with markers, and Ohuhu markers in particular, because they're so good. Anyway, thank you guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the video, and big shout out and thanks to Ohuhu that provided the marker set and wanted me to give a unbiased review. I'm sorry, but I can't do that because I love you guys. I've used you for quite a while, and you're a great product. So thank you guys, and we'll see you next time, okay? Cheers. Bye.